Imagine living in a place where winter is not just a season, but a constant threat. In remote regions like Yakutia, in Siberia, life unfolds in silence, far from the world, surrounded by an unforgiving nature. In this video, you will learn the story of Tuyaara and her family. People who live isolated from the rest of the world, facing the challenges of one of the most extreme climates on the planet. A harsh and moving story that reveals how fragile life can be when one is at the mercy of nature. A life of isolation. The morning silence in Yakutia is unlike anywhere else in the world. It is an unforgiving presence made of ice, wind, and vastness. The distant mountains rest motionless beneath thick layers of snow that reflect the pale sun. And at the heart of this frozen landscape, there is a small village where thermometers often register temperatures below 50 degrees below zero. There lives a family of 4. A family forged by the cold, sustained by affection, and hardened by the rigors of time. The home of Tuyaara and Ison rests at the edge of the forest, where the trees face winter like ancestral warriors. Tuyaara is 65 years old, and her husband, Ison, is 68. The couple has 2 children, the eldest, Toyon, 19 years old, and the youngest, Ekaterina, 17 years old. Until then, the children had lived with the couple, but now they are leaving for the big city, where they will attend college. Every morning, while the wind still whispers through the cracks of the aged wooden walls, Tuyaara puts on her thick fur parka, ties a scarf over her hair, and walks toward the chicken coop. Ison, her companion for more than 4 decades, has already left before sunrise. The lake, now partially frozen, still holds fish beneath its thick layer of ice, and it is there that he seeks the family's sustenance. With a sled pulled by dogs, he sets out alone along familiar trails, facing what few would dare to confront. Tuyaara, alone, feeds the animals. A few cold-resistant chickens and an old guard dog. Then she heads into the nearby forest, where she gathers dry sticks to keep the fireplace burning throughout the day. Each step is careful, as the treacherous ground may conceal traps of ice. She returns with red hands, visible breath, her eyelashes dusted with ice crystals. Inside the house, life pulses in tiny details. Tuyaara prepares fermented cheese, traditional to the region, while softly singing songs her grandmother once taught her. The wooden walls hold echoes of the childhood of her children, Toyon and Ekaterina, now absent, studying at distant colleges and returning only during vacations. The letters and photos they send are kept like relics, placed on the sideboard near the stove. The hours drag on. The sky begins to cloud over at a speed only the village elders can interpret with precision. Tuyaara looks through the small window and frowns. A storm is forming on the horizon, The wind rises, first like a distant lament, then like a scream that shakes the house. Ison has not yet returned. He was supposed to be back by midday. Now, the sky already threatens to darken. Tuyaara reinforces the door locks and feeds the fire with more sticks. Outside, the snowstorm forms, covering everything at a frightening speed. The world becomes white, indistinct. The house dog, once calm, now growls, sniffing the icy air. He senses something. And so does Tuyaara. Then shadows appear. Wolves. At first, she sees only a pair of glowing eyes among the trees. Then others, silent, hungry, moving like spectres through the snow. They watch the house. They surround it. The woman closes the curtains and holds her breath. The dog barks desperately. A dry sound echoes. The chicken coop. The wolves are attacking. Tuyaara runs to the front window and sees the brutal movement of the beasts over the birds. There is nothing she can do. The wood creaks under the weight of the wind, and the bodies of the animals now approaching the house. A howl breaks the silence, long and deep. A call. Suddenly, one of the wolves, larger than the others, begins to force the front door. The house dog throws itself against the wood, trying to block the entrance. But the wolves are too hungry, too bold. The side window trembles, and Tuyaara, armed only with an iron shovel, positions herself in front of the door. Her heart pounds hard, but her face remains calm. She has faced many winters. Then she hears the sound that to her is more precious than any melody. Aeson's sled approaching, cutting through the wind like an ancestral arrow. The beam of her husband's flashlight pierces the storm and illuminates the wolves, who hesitate. The dog, recognizing Ison's scent, barks even louder. A shot echoes. Ison carries an old hunting rifle. The sound is enough to scatter the invaders. One by one, they disappear into the white forest, like ghosts frightened by the light of the past. Tuyaara drops to her knees, not from fear, but from relief. Aeson runs to her, holds her face between his hands, and for a moment the cold seems to retreat before the warmth of reunion. But the story of that night does not end there, because winter in Yakutia does not forgive, and the hunger of wolves is only one of the dangers that stalk those who live isolated in the silence of snow. Weeks pass. The children call, worried. Toyon wants to return during vacation, says he wants to help his father with fishing. Ekaterina promises to teach her mother how to use video calls, so they can see each other more often. The promises warm Tuyaara's heart, but she knows that, in the end, she is alone during the long days. Until one afternoon, as night falls, Aeson needs to leave again. There is a problem with one of the sled dogs in the neighbouring village, and he promises to return before sunset. But time once again changes too quickly. Tuyaara, now accustomed to reinforcing the doors and keeping the fire burning, feels the chill run down her spine once more. The dog growls. The wolves have returned. This time, bolder, more numerous. The wind howls through the cracks of the house like an omen. The wood groans. And then the sound she would never forget. The back window being shattered. A large wolf enters the living room. Red eyes, salivating fangs. Tuyaara defends herself as she can, screaming, pushing furniture. But the weight of time on her arms is too great. The story ends without glory. When Ison returns, he finds the door open, the fireplace extinguished. The dog, wounded. The silence is now final. Tuyaara is gone. That night, the wolves did not take only a life. They took memories, songs, smiles. Tuyaara's body, unfortunately, was never found. Toyon and Ekaterina return home days later, greeted by a father who now carries in his eyes the coldest blizzard of all, that of loneliness. Winter in Yakutia continued, but in that house something broke forever.